Welcome back to 40 Miner again. I'm kind of feeling like this video is pretty necessary, especially around about now, because sometime next week multiplayer will be released to the Patreons, so there's going to be a ton of people going to be doing a ton of stuff with each other, and I think the most important thing would be building a spider-proof house, or an enemy-proof house, or really an anyone-proof house that can't break blocks. So that's why you want to watch this video. It's going to be a tutorial on that. Ramda did make a great tutorial. I'll link his channel in the description if you want to watch that. That's where I got all my information from. But this video is more specific for my style of house and like how I did it, and I'll go into a bit more detail for the tutorial. But yeah, let's start. Alright, so usually what I do in my videos is I build the houses and then show you, but this is going to be the first time where I'm not doing that. So first of all, you just want to pick any old area. This area is pretty good, I guess. By the way, I'm assuming you have everything in the game. So that means a compass, the deadly pick, the solenoid collector, the ultra hammer, and wherever it is, the glasses are there, the 40 glasses as well. It's important that you have those. In terms of getting resources, I will be talking about that, so don't worry too much. So yeah, well, first things first, you need the resources. So what I like to do in terms of building this house is I like using this stone, ice, glass, and this stuff up here, and this, although these houses are a bit of a bad example because it's not what I usually do, and the stuff on the, oh no, I use cobblestone on the floor. Yeah, anyway, so I'll show you where to get all those. We'll start off with the cobblestone, as you can see, or just stone. As you can see, I have 3,500 of it. Pretty much, you just go into the grass biome, whatever you want to call it, find some stone. You might want to dig down a bit to find it properly. Then you just mine it with the ultra hammer. Usually, what you should do is create a tunnel like this and just keep on going forward for ages. And you just keep on going until you're bored or you're happy with how much you've mined. Then you get the solenoid collector, hold down right click, then just walk backwards. Don't sprint backwards because you go too fast and you might not collect it all. Just walk backwards and collect everything, and there you go. I got quite a bit from that. I actually got like, I don't know, like 700 pieces of stone just from that tiny little bit there. But that's going to be pretty important. That's going to be either the most used block or the second most used block. So you're going to want to have a lot of that. Now next is for the ice. You want to find a snowy biome like this, and ice is relatively easy to find. I'm pretty sure you can just mine down and there's ice. Yeah, so this is ice here, but I just want to show you so you can see a bit better of the ice over here. So like here, for example, this is where I've gotten a lot of my ice. As you can see, the big tunnels I've done. So really big tunnels. You just want to dig down till you get to the ice, which is what I did just a second ago, or find, yeah, actually just dig down. There's no point finding it on the surface. And again, you just mine straight forward, go until you're happy, solenoid collector them up, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Definitely use the ultra hammer. Do not use the deadly pick at all. So yeah, that's important. Anyway, and now what's next? So you want glass. Now I only have 8 because I use a lot of it, and it's such a pain getting glass because you have to find these trees, the red-leaved, brown wooded trees in the green biome. You don't want the midnight trees because I'm pretty sure they can't be used for smelting. As you can see, like all of these trees don't have their wood because I've already mined it all. But let me just find a tree. Here you go. So here's some wood. What you want to do is grab the ultra hammer. Actually, before you do that, you want the 40 glasses in your offhand slot so you can see these. So once you've dropped it all, you want to pick it up. Let me just do it again so I can show you a bit better. So you want to break the wood. All of the woods, including the 4th dimension, will drop, and you just pick them up with the solenoid collector, sorry. You also want to get a bunch of sand. You just go to a desert like this one over here and just dig for it. So that's just like do this. It's pretty easy. Nothing else to it other than that. Solenoid collector. Pretty straightforward. Now you also want to get the stone. Oh yeah, and then you craft the glass using the wood and the sand. Sand is pretty easy to get, so don't worry too much about that. It's just wood is the most painful thing. Anyway, so you also want to get this type of stone here for the house. So it's the same as before. Dig down in the midnight biome. You just collect it all. When you're done, you're done. Press T, by the way, to teleport back up, which is what I did there. That'll be pretty helpful. So once you've got a bunch of that, and by a bunch of that I mean like just get a stack of stone, a stack of ice, probably, yeah, 22 glasses fine, but just get like as much glass as you're willing to get in the stack of that. Just make sure you have more than enough just in case you want it to be a bit bigger than you expect, or you want to build more than one of it. So I just gotta head back right now. Alright, now that you're back, just pick out an area that you're willing to build on, like this flat area here. And the first thing you want to do is get your stone and kind of build the corners first. Alright, so first thing you want to do is build up 4 stones high. Then you want to come out however long, it doesn't really matter how long. I'm just going to go this far, just because, there you go. And then same for this way, make sure you line up because it is a corner, just like that. And then you have to line yourself up here. So there you go, so you should have 4 pillars like that, made out of stone. If you've got that, then you're doing the right thing. Now, all you need to do is fill the in-between parts with ice. And it's a bit of a pain, but I recommend you do this. So you basically crouch, walk backwards, fill it up. And it'll take a while, but it's worth it. Just trust me. But when you get to the part where you want the door, leave it open a bit. Oh, that's annoying. I left the symmetry like that. Okay, so if you just want a single door, then you just leave it like that. Spiders cannot get through it. If you want a double door, on the other hand, you can totally have this, but then you kind of have to have this, so the spiders can't get through. I'll show you, because I did that with one of my houses over here. So see this house, how it's a double door? One of the parts are filled in here, and if I just quickly scroll, don't need to worry about this part. As you can see, it's on the other side, so the spiders can never get through, but then it's not really a double door. So yeah, just keep that in mind if you want a double door that badly. I recommend just a single one, and if you happen to build the house so it's off center like I did, then you can just adjust it easily. I can't be bothered doing that, but I'm sure you can as well. So yeah, so don't worry about the double door for the moment, just go with a single one, unless you really want to do what I just said, but that's totally up to you. Anyway, so you just want to fill in the rest of the house. There you go, so you should have what I have right now. It's not the most beautiful thing, but you're going to have to deal with it for the moment. Once you've done that, you want to go inside here, mine out this block and this block, and pretty much just all of these blocks with your deadly pickaxe. Don't use the ultra hammer because it mines a lot of things at the same time. You essentially just want to mine the floor and the block underneath the wall, and that includes the one with the stone pillar. Just trust the system for the moment. It might not seem very necessary at all, but this is how I've done it and how my houses look. So this is more of a my house specific thing. So all of this stuff is my house specific, but you can change all of the blocks for whatever block you want, or you don't have to do this floor part. But once you've mined it all out, solenoid collector, which is the most useful thing ever, and then once you've done that, you just fill the rest of the floor in with this stone. Make sure you fill everything in so there are no gaps. By the way, feel free to pause whenever you want, just so you can catch up. Anyway, so now that you've filled in the floor, you've got your walls. You should have what I have right now, unless you're using different blocks. But once you've done that, you want to press T, which teleports you up. Oh, I missed. And then go onto the wall here, the side of the wall, and you want to get the midnight stone and build on the top of the wall like this. Once you've done that, you then fill it in to kind of get your roof done. And once you've done this, you've kind of got a weird looking house that's kind of got like a, you know, that haircut where if you like shave all of your hair, but then there's a little bit of hair remaining. That's kind of what that looks like, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, you want to press T to go back to the top if you didn't do that. And this is for my house specific. You see how I've got a bit of an overbit. You just build out from one, and you do that the whole way. If you make a mistake, you can easily mine it like that. So you just want to do this the whole way over, so it has a bit of an overhang, which looks pretty cool in my opinion. And there you go. So now you've got this. So you've got a bit of a guy who's like, yeah, I want to grow out my hair. And then it just comes out straight sideways and there's nothing on top, which is a little awkward. We don't really want that. So you want to press T and go back to the top again, unless you're already on the top. And one block away from the thing, you just want to build up the roof like this. This is just for aesthetic purposes. It doesn't really do anything. So just do what I'm doing. As you can see, I'm leaving one block gap for the roof, and I'm going the whole way over like this. So there you go. So you should have pretty much a block, assuming it's ice, on your walls, and in the inside it should look like this. On the floor there should be stone or whatever block you want. If you look up it, you should be able to see the midnight stone or whatever block, and then you can see these pillars being the stone. I like to keep them there. As you can see, it's here. You can also see a bit of the floor there, but that's because I haven't filled it in. It should usually look like this. Now, for the glass, what I tend to do is do something like this. This one's a bit weird because of it being a bit lopsided, but, you know, something like that. You can do whatever you want with the glass. You can have it in. You can have as much glass as you want, wherever you want. It doesn't really matter. You just mine into the wall. If you want, you could put it in the roof. That could be interesting, but you'd have to be pretty clever to do that. And I recommend you don't experimenting too much, as long as you understand what you're doing. So just pretty much for this first time, just pretty much do what I'm doing. And there you go. So let me just click this real quick and done. So this is pretty much it. Single door, you've got your glass everywhere. It looks absolutely cool, but it's not spider-proof, and it's only in one part of the dimension. So this is the time where your brain starts to melt. So you need to look on the floor for your melted brain, try and scoop it up into your hand. Then you just stare at your melted brain in your hand for a while. Just contemplate your thoughts, staring at your melted brain. Then you go to one of those meat stores, the butcher, that's what it's called, and you know how they have a freezer in the back? You basically just put your melted brain in the freezer there, and you wait, usually 2 to 3 days. You wait, then after 2 to 3 days you go back into that freezer in the butcher. Hopefully you don't have to pay anything, that'd be a bit rigged in my opinion. But once you go back into the freezer of the butcher, you should see your brain, which should be pretty much normal. I mean, it would look a bit like your hand scooping up your brain, but once it looks relatively kind of like a brain, you can put that back in your head and you should be a bit better in terms of dealing with the fourth dimension. So once you've done that, you want to look at the bottom right. You want to hold the compass and look at the bottom right of the screen. Just look on my screen for the moment. You can see that there's an X coordinate, which is forwards and backwards in this direction. There's a Z coordinate, which is forwards and backwards in the other direction. There's the Y coordinate, which is up and down. And then we've got the W coordinate. And the W coordinate is kind of like a rat. If the rat was eating soup in Ratatouille's restaurant, you know that movie Ratatouille? If there was a rat in that restaurant eating soup, that's kind of like the W coordinate. If that makes no sense, then you make no sense. So what you want to do is see the number, whatever it is. Mine is negative 78.5, and you want to engrave that into your brain. You want to grab like a laser and laser it into your brain. Negative 78.5 for me, whatever it is for you. You can make it negative 78.5, but it has to be the same one you built this house on. That is important. So at this point, you should not have scrolled at all or done anything to change that. It should be the same the whole time. Assuming it's the same and assuming you have this, you want to hold down Shift and hold down Q until your house completely disappears, and you want to go exactly one point, I guess, one block to the Q direction in your, it will in the W direction in the Q way, so the down, the way that makes the number lower, if that makes sense. If that makes sense. Actually, it probably makes the number higher because mine's negative. I don't know, but basically you just want to go one whole number to the side in your W coordinate, if that makes any sense. I went from negative 78.5 to negative 77.5. So if yours was like 10, you would want to go from 10 to 9, or from 10 to 11, or just you know, something from 115 to 114. So make sure that you've got that. Now you want to go back into negative 78.5 or wherever your house was. You want to stare at one of the corners of your pillar, and you want to go back into the thing. And if you're holding down crouch and holding down Q, nothing's happening like this right now, and your windows have kind of gone like this, it means in the negative 77.5 plane, or the plane that you're trying to get to, there's a block or something that isn't there where you're standing. So you pretty much just jump and scroll for a bit. And as you can see, this block, like scroll, like you move your scroll wheel just a tiny little smidge. You can see this block was trying to get there, but I was standing on it, so I couldn't really do anything. So you just want to stand on a block, that should be fine. And as you can see, the pillar in negative 77.5 is right here. So once you've got to negative 77.5 and you're staring at the spot where the pillar was, it has to be the same spot, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like we did before. So that should be the exact same spot as before. As you can see here, the house pillar and this pillar are lining up perfectly. Now you want to do the same with the other 4 pillars to make sure that they're all lined up. As you can see, this is the spot for it, negative 77.5, and you want to build up 4 just like you did before, and do that until you've done all the pillars. Alright, now that you've done that, it's pretty much a rinse and repeat of before. You want to fill in the walls with ice, you want to fill in the floor with stone, fill in the roof with that midnight stone, and just let me know once you're done. Actually, you can't really do that, but I'll let you know once I'm done, which will be in 2 seconds because I have the power of literal time travel. So I'm assuming you're done now. I am done right now. And I'm back. So I did time travel. It looks like this house is done. There are no windows because whoever built it was lazy. It wasn't me, by the way, because I time traveled. You know, I didn't fast forward or cut out anything. Anyway, so just to be ultra clear, if I've been a bit confusing, I'm sorry about that, but just to be ultra clear, you should have on one point of the W coordinate a house that you're happy to look at. And just pretend there are windows here. I just can't be bothered because I only have 2 glass. A house that you're happy with, and on the point directly next to it, for example, if you're on W10.0, the point next to that is 9.0 or 11.0. For me, I'm on negative 77.5, and the point right next to it is negative 78.5. As you can see here, negative 77.5, negative 78.5. So I'm happy with both of these houses. Just pretend there are windows here. I'm happy with both of those. Now, you can keep on doing this. You can build this kind of house as many times as you wish. It just has to be on the same X, Y, and Z coordinate as before. Just if the terrain is any different, don't worry about that. Like, here's a good example of a house over here I built. So see this house? It's on the mountain or the hill, nice and cool. It fits pretty good. And if I change the W coordinate to negative 76.5, it's floating, but it's in the same spot, which is important. And if I go down again, it's floating even higher. And if I go down, it's floating even higher. And it's floating even higher. And it's still floating, but it is in the same spot, which is what's important. So you have to make sure it is in the same spot every time. It's just the only thing that is different is the W coordinate. You can do it as many times as you want. You can go from 10 to 9 to 8 to 7 to 6 to 5. If you want to, you could go from 10 to 9, then back to 11, then to 12, then down to 8 again. As long as they're all touching in the W coordinate, that's what's important. But we're not done here. 4D spiders can still get in. How? If I go to negative 76.5, it's just an open area, so they can come on in and, oh, they're in the house. And we don't want that. So what do we do to stop them? Well, at the point where you don't want to keep on building your house to make it look good, this is where you kind of make it look a little bit boxy, if you know what I mean by that. So we kind of want to do what we did before. We want a pillar here. We want to build up 1, 2, 3, 4 with the pillar here. And we want to do that again as we did before. So you should have 4 pillars like this. If you've got one that's slightly down, just build one under it. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and then one under it, so it's 5. But they should all be the same height. So once you've done that, you want to again fill in the walls. But this time you want to fill in the door as well. So the entire thing should look like a box like this. You're probably wondering, oh, now it's spider-proof. No, because if I go to 75.6 and then come in here, oh, now I'm in here. Oh, now I'm in here. So what do? Yeah, you guessed it. You have to fill absolutely everything in. And what I like to do is use ice because it looks cool, and I'll tell you why in a second. But you want to fill all of this in with ice. Make sure there are no gaps at all. I probably should have specified this before, but the block you fill in, by the way, Control R resets your orientation. So say I've like broken it a bit, I'm at 76.8 and I want to be at 76.5. Control R or whatever it is on a Apple device, I don't know, will put you back at 76.5. So that's just a quick tip. You want to fill in whatever you did in the middle with the same stuff as the wall. So sorry, I should have specified that before. Make sure you do that though. So now you've got this. It should look the exact same as the house before, except with no door, no windows, and a filled-in part at the top. But we're not done because we still have a roof to make. Now, do you remember the roof of your house that looked like a guy who had just shaved his head and there's like a bit of hair remaining and it kind of looks like that, you know what I mean? We kind of want that to happen again just because it looks crazy cool, we've decided, because boxy filled-in houses deserved shaved heads, if you know what I mean by that. So now that you've done that, you should have this. And then you're absolutely finished, kind of. Because now the spider is like, oh, I want to try and get into this house. Let's go. Oh, I can't get into the house because there's ice in the way. So that's cool that we've now stopped that spider. And yeah, you do have a bit of a shaved head aesthetic here, which is kind of awkward, but don't worry about it. So just to recap, on your lowest point or your highest point, or just one of the points that are at the end, you should have a filled-in thing like this. The walls should look the same. You should still have the pillars on the inside of everything. It should be what you used with the walls. And you should have the shaved haircut for the roof. And on the points next to it, you should have a house that you're happy with. The point next to that, on the other side, should be the other house that you're happy with. And you keep on going until you're done with all the houses that you're happy with. I'm just doing 2 for the moment. And then until you're onto the other side, so I'm at negative 79.5 rather than negative 78.5. Basically what you want to do is build another shaved hair sort of house, like the one you built on negative 76.5, or just this one basically. You want to build that again on your highest point. So essentially, think of it this way. If you built your happy house on W10 and then you built a second happy house on W11, on the outside of W10 and 11, which will be 9 and 12, you want to build your shaved haircut houses to make sure that spiders can't get in. So I'm going to quickly build this one here. You should have it finished too, so I can show you the finished house, and then I'll show you like other variants that you could do as well. By the way, let me just quickly mention, so as you can see here, my pillar is this block here, and you're probably wondering, oh, what do? I need to build the pillar there, but there's already a block there. What do I do? Here's a cool tip. Take out your pickaxe and you mine it. Whoa, mind absolutely blown. But yeah, if there's stuff that's appeared that's in your way, you can just mine it, which is what I've had to do a couple of times over like a hill or something. Also, you might have noticed that there's a bit of a shadow going on, and that's your house in the other dimension making a shadow. So you can kind of use it. So I'm kind of predicting that right here is going to be a pillar. Let's see if I am correct. Yeah, I actually am correct. But just in case, you should definitely check your working just in case you do something wrong. Anyway, so I'm just going to quickly time travel and hope that this is finished. Alright, time travel complete. So what you should have is 2 shaved haircut houses, and in between those are 2 beautiful houses that you're happy with. Now, the main reason why I did the shaved haircut houses in that way, this is important, is if you're in here and you start scrolling, you should get, see this? It kind of looks like the wall. This is the filled in shaved haircut house, and on the top you can see, I mean, you can't really see, but there would be normally like whatever you would build, but the reason why you use the stuff for the shaved haircut is because it looks like this now, when if I use something else it wouldn't look like that. And so same for all sides of the house here. That's the main reason why you chose those materials specifically. And then so same for the pillars, even though sometimes you can't see it, but sometimes you can, like here. Normally it wouldn't be that, I don't know, you know what I mean. So yeah, that should be your beautiful, beautiful house done in your world. If it's in your multiplayer world, then nobody should be able to get in unless it's through a front door, or unless someone just straight up mines in, but those guys are losers and we don't trust them anyway. So let me show you real quick a variant, or like a weird thing that I did. This is a 4D spider-proof mansion that I built, that you can look at the video that I made on it if you wanted to. I also made a path, which I don't want to talk about it anyway. So I built it to look like the hill, and so it's obviously not a rectangle or anything. On every single corner I put a stone pillar, and on the inside I made sure to hide all of the stone pillars. As you can see here, they're hidden there, even though I built out a bit more. It's a bit extreme. You don't have to do that as well, I just did it just because. But the main thing I wanted to say is for the shaved haircut version, as you can see, I'm negative 80.5, which I know it's not the same as before. I just built it on a different W coordinate. It's totally the same. It's the pillars are there, the ice is there. If I mine in the inside of it, it's just ice. And on the top, it's the shaved haircut. And this shadow here is probably from a tree. And it's the same for this one. As you can see, these are more of my experiments. This is what I started out at. Oh, it's ugly. It reminds me of a spicy meatball. I don't know about you. This one, it's getting there, and then this is where I finalized the shaved haircut. And as you can see, I mined away the hill here, which you can definitely do. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. You can replace any blocks with the blocks of your choice. Yeah, that is a spider-proof house that you can have in your multiplayer world, that you can build with your friends. You can put stuff in there and it'd be perfectly fine, like a chest. I don't have any on me, I don't think. But like here, this deadly ore, for example, I can just build like here, and it glows, which is really cool. It's like, hey, check out my house. And it actually do recommend using deadly ore. If I'm here, negative 77.5, as you can see, it's just straight up glowing, and that's the deadly ore glowing, as you can see. So you can do what you want. You can put chests in here, you can put other items that are new in the game in here. This will work for every version of 4D Miner there is, because that's just how you build in the 4th dimension. So I hope I've been super clear. I know I used a little bit of a silly thing to think of with the soupy brain and the ratatouille, whatever I said before, but I just said that just to enlighten the mood, try to make it a bit more clear, if you know what I mean. So I do hope you understand what's going on. I do hope you build a house. Like, as you can see here, I watched Randa's tutorial, and as you saw before, I built like a spicy meatball looking house sort of thing, and it was kind of weird and kind of gross, and no one knows what's going on with that. But after several attempts, I eventually got a house that I'm super happy with, and in this one I actually put iron ore in here, and it's a house that I'm super happy with, and I pretty much just did this forever. instead of something that looks ugly like that or a spicy meatball like that. But the best way to do it is just to experiment and teach yourself, really. Like, there you go. Like, that's the best way I've learned, is just teaching myself and just playing around with it. So I really recommend you do that. Anyway, I hope this has been clear. I hope you have understood everything. I hope I'm not too boring and I haven't repeated myself 74,000 times. But yeah, that's how to build a house in 40 Miner, and specifically a ZARBI house. As you can see, that took me 44 minutes. Yes, I was explaining for most of that, but it takes about half an hour to build a house like what I just built. It's pretty insane, I know, but that's just how 40 Miner is. So yeah, I do hope you enjoyed that. I do hope your brain is no longer melted. It's either frozen or it never melted in the first place. If that's the case, you're really cool and awesome in every single way. But anyway, check out my other content, and I'll see ya.